right. Hello, world. Happy Monday. It is Monday somewhere. It is 12 o'clock somewhere, but no matter where it is, the time is right now. And I am so thrilled to have a very special guest with me today. He is a man who I have really been following and kind of unbeknownst to him. Oh, maybe I've told him. I've given him. He's really inspired me along the way, and I really feel like he helps make the world. The world is a better place with him in it, because of the way he is leading with love and with some really great tools from his heart. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Eric Aumen.
Thanks, Ben, man. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna have to have you do all my intros. That was excellent.
Let's do it. Well,
Cool.
at a special rate right now, I would be honored.
Well,
I
thanks for
just,
having me here.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for being here, and thank you to everyone who's already joined us. I see you guys, Surfboard Tribe, my friends from the Rockaways there, and Matt B and CMA San Francisco, Chris. So we have people from all over the country here. And Eric, where are you coming from today?
I'm about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia, out in the rural area. So
Which
nice
are you
and
in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Okay, because that could be in multiple states.
Correct. Yeah, thanks for dialing that in. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in Pennsylvania outside of Philly.
All right. So there is life and hope and light even outside of Philly and Pennsylvania.
Especially outside of
Especially, yes. I
yeah.
mean, look at the room is glowing around him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
plenty
Sequoia
of
Rock
light.
has joined us too. Speaking of light, I've followed him through you.
Yeah.
Um, so it's cool to see you here as well. Um, yeah, so I love to drop us in, see where in the world. It's really cool to know we're both on the East Coast. We're actually only a few hours from each other. I lived in New York
Yeah.
City for 20 years, and I moved further north during the pandemic. So now I'm in along with the rest of the world. Actually, I went everywhere. I traveled a lot because actually the planes were empty, and so were the hotels, and
Yeah.
there's all this space and time to create. But I found myself in the Hudson Valley. So I just want to say, anytime you're welcome here.
Cool,
And
man.
I'd love to co create in the future. I'm just planting seeds right now of
Mhm.
us leading some men's work together in the
Nice.
Northeast in person.
Yes. Fuck
In
yeah.
person. I hugged
Yeah.
someone this weekend who had an art, like a human I'm really inspired by who I hadn't seen in years. Her name's Maddie Walsh. She's an amazing singer and activist. And just remembering I just hugged her and I was like, oh my God, fuck, I haven't hugged you in fucking years. Like this alone can be healing. So
Yeah.
John Tran, who's usually with us today, he's actually living his dreams. He's just moved to Tulum, where he's become like the head of the yoga program and on
Awesome.
this intentional community in this land. He's not here, and he and I have never hugged each other. We've never like touched each other, but we've been doing this together for 17 months. We've taken maybe 3 weeks off over that time.
Wow.
Um, and that's out of our commitment to lead and help show men it's a safe space to be vulnerable and it's sexy to take care of yourself. And the best thing you can do for the world is start with your own energy, right?
Yeah. 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 That's how people perceive and feel you is through your energy. I mean, think about when we're a baby, we perceive things first by feeling people and like we don't understand words, but we know right away
We have
if
the five
we're
senses going at all times,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
how, like
Exactly.
what, like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So and I think we kind of lose that a bit when we get carried away with language and we put too much importance on language, and really this
Mm,
can take us way out of our body and into our head, and which is where a lot of men find themselves, I think, at least the men that I work with and the men
Mm.
that I've done work with, meaning
Yeah.
been the man doing the work.
Yeah. Out of our body, but like into our heads. There's only like two heads it goes to sometimes, and
Yeah,
we
exactly.
skip the heart in between
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything
absolutely.
else, right? You
Yep,
actually have a great diagram behind you that kind of
I do. I
like
do. Yeah,
perfectly sort of pictures what we're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. And that's actually illustrating the masculine and feminine energy combining in the heart space. So those are the
Mm.
Taoist, in Taoist philosophy, that's the Dantians, uh, the
Mm.
the yang, the yin, and the yin and yang mixing in the center dantian there, and that's illustrating
Mm.
we all have masculine and feminine energy,
Mm.
which is
Yes.
really part of why we're here, right? The divine masculine Monday.
That's
So
right. And we've had men and women and everyone in between, however you identify. It is so important to say. We don't call it like Men's Monday,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because it is. I love that you're talking about this energy and the Dantian. I've done some work in Tai Chi
hmm,
with Freddie Bryant, who's a musician. I do a retreat every year in Costa Rica for the last 8 years. And we've been 2 years apart, but we're coming back together to do all the things we love: surfing, yoga, Tai Chi, meditation,
awesome,
guitar. And
cool,
it's really, these guys are instructors at Berkeley, and it's called Balance Guitar. And we started it for musicians because they don't like, even most musicians, even the highest level professionals, usually retire early because of repetitive stress injuries. They're so connected to their instrument, but what they forget is their body is part of their instrument. So even if you play a physical instrument, if you're not a singer, I mean, singers know for sure, right? You have to take care of your voice and blah, blah, blah. But you forget, if you're playing guitar all the time, that, you have to take care of this, because this is all, that's not a natural
yeah,
thing to do all the time. And then all of the soul work in between that can actually make you a greater artist or human. And so we take people to a blue zone in Nosara, Costa Rica, in the warm Pacific Ocean in January, and in the jungle, and we just connect to the land, and we learn about self-care through music and healing. Um and it was there that I first heard the words Dantian. So you took me back there,
nice,
and that's coming up in 2 months actually. So if you're
cool,
watching and this sounds good, we have some space left. Just click on my bio.
nice.
We'd love to have you come to Costa Rica with us. Uh, it's yeah, it just, what I love about this man Freddie Bryan is he's like one of the largest men I've met. He's just a powerhouse. He's like, in the South we'd say he's like built like a brick shit house, but he's got such a soft energy. And it's clear, I guess a lot of his Tai Chi is, connected him to that powerful masculine feminine work. And those are the men I look for to follow, that have both of that. So I've been doing a lot of talking. What got you into this work, Eric?
Well, it was a really natural progression of my own healing journey,
Mm.
accumulating a lot of stress and um, and then meeting a woman when I was just starting to kind of wake up to my own spiritual side and any sort of depth in my life. I met my wife, the woman who is now my wife,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it was no accident for sure because she was already a bit more conscious, I think, than I was at the time. And when we met, I mean, it was fire. We rapidly started a relationship and family and
Mm.
started growing together. And it really invited me to move from like my prince energy or my boy into becoming a man. And in the process, I started working with a Reiki master
Mm.
and getting monthly sessions there and a spiritual teacher and just really absorbing a lot, intaking a lot, and found my way to men's work. And this is probably maybe 8 years ago now, and went through the Mankind Project, New Warrior Training Adventure, which is their initiation experience. And even before I went through that, I was starting to sit in a men's group, but the experience of doing that was just connected me deeply to some, I would say, more archetypal parts of myself, meaning like the warrior, the magician, the king lover, and get bringing
I
more
just that
clarity in.
book just came in the mail. I've been hearing
Yeah,
it so much. I've even
yeah,
studied the concepts, but never the book. So I'm
yeah.
glad you
Well,
said it
it's
again.
it's a must read for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and through my own path to, I was running my own business at the time. Yeah, I still am. And
And what business was that?
at the time, it was a video production
Oh,
company
cool.
with my brother. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's how my wife and I met. I was directing a short film. She was the makeup artist for the film.
What?
And yeah,
Dude, we
so
gotta talk. We're both in
yeah,
the entertainment industry,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
have
Well,
no clue. Or
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do too much in that anymore.
Well, you're
Just
shining right
personal.
now on camera, so
True,
it's part of
true.
your life, right? Thanks to
Yeah.
production.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Um, that kind of led me just into like as I said, we quickly realized we were meant to have a family and meant to
Mm,
have babies, and that was one of the
mm,
things that attracted me to her. Was I didn't have words for it at the time, but it was like a biological attraction
mm.
of you know you look like you would make amazing babies type of thing.
I mean,
and
yeah,
and I
hey,
was right,
that's really part of us.
exactly.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Trusting my
um
intuition.
yeah, so in that came more like, at the time it felt like pressure, to
Mm,
perform, which is something I was, looking back, no stranger to. It became like the growth catalyst from early days in sports to making my dad, like trying to impress him, um, just all the way up through. And that stress really led to the need for more support for to do the work. And I started seeing transformation in my life. And it really definitely didn't look like this. It was like up, down. There were some crashes in there.
yeah.
And but her and I, really, what I found was the most power for me came in doing my own work, and then also in working on our relationship.
Mm,
And I think when I made that change and started looking at, okay, I have my work, she has her work, and then we have our work, um, it became really special and transformational and sacred, which is why part of the reason, to me, I call myself a sacred men's coach, is because I believe that we can choose to see the world, we can see our partner or our relationship with our kids, all of these things as a sacred opportunity if we allow ourselves to go there, if we allow
mm.
ourselves to see the sacredness of the situation.
Yeah. Oh,
See,
I
like
love that.
right now, you and I are talking, and somebody might see this who will take a little tiny piece and it will could change their life. It might
Yeah.
not, but it could, and that's like having that responsibility and power at all times, or as often as you can consciously do, is sacred to me.
Yeah.
That we wield great power just by embodying who we are.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Just by
that's
being
a little bit,
ourselves.
yeah, that's a little bit of like how I
Yeah.
got to where I
Thank
am.
you for saying that. And I actually want to ask you, you've said so much beautiful things here. I want to ask you some questions, if I may.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so, a lot of what we're talking about today is sort of the secret sauce of self-care and, how men have been programmed. And, it's probably a lot of what women are struggling with men and what we all are dealing with around that type of masculinity, the toxic masculinity that, may have served a purpose at one point in our survival, but really is became ingrained in our culture in some way. And by just having this conversation, we can dismantle it. We can allow, and even if I sometimes like to interchange the word toxic with wounded, perhaps, or
Yeah.
just unequipped, right? And for a long time, ignorance has been bliss for a lot of like privileged white males. But inside, even my grandfather, who is one of the most like racist people I knew, who was like making a lot of money, like he was so sad.
Mm.
And his heart, he had no work for emotions, like deep in his heart. He was an alcoholic too, and that's part of why I also knew. And he got sober at one point, but he just became angry. And what I just saw is, men for the longest time, especially those uh, of privilege, even have had no work for heart centered work, and for so long, tribal communities have allowed people to support each other, but we have lost those sages in our life. We've lost tribe. We've lost our roots. We've lost connection to a lot of things. No matter whether you have privilege or not, it's just not there in this culture. Um, and and yet you said we also have everything is sacred too. And if we can look at that sacredness and actually, if we're all beings who, let's say it's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. This is
Mm.
what I see with men who are also, or who are afraid to take up space because either they don't know how, or if they do, they hurt people or themselves. Um, you said at one point you went from like a prince to being a man.
Mm.
You met this woman and you saw that you were supposed to do this work. What was it? What was the thing that you first were up against that had you say, "Hey, I need to go do some work on myself"? Like you sought Reiki. That was not something that everybody thinks to go to. But what was the thing that you're like, "Oh man, I got to grow up," or something's got to shift?
Well, I think there was a curiosity, like a wonderment, really, about the spiritual world.
Mm.
I was raised Catholic,
Hmm.
and there was a point in time where I like veered off pretty hard from that. At one point, I wanted to be a priest, and then just too many questions. So I veered away and went into nothingness really around spirituality and religion. And then I had, like so many people, a psychedelic experience that like opened my eyes to just a subtler level of reality, in my eyes.
Hmm.
And nothing like too intense, but it got me curious. So then I started re-engaging with meditation, yoga, and just a more holistic lifestyle and started feeling better. So it was almost a proactive um, thing, but at the time when I started that, I didn't have any responsibility. So I was very much just like flowing through my life,
Got
without
it.
any structure really.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I met my wife, she had a 3-year old. So we right away became a family, like we went right into being a family. And that called for, like, I'll say with kids, like being in like a sacred relationship, amazing catalyst for growth. Having kids is like equally leveling up because it's one thing to say to another adult, like get away from me, or or just shut them down, but saying it to a child is like there's like an inception thing for me, at least, that happens of like, how am I doing this to my own inner child? Like what is it's very reflective, right? Like that's one of the beautiful things about my experience in my family is like
Mm.
with my wife, with my kids, there are these reflections that are showing me things about me, right? Because I'm choosing to see it in that way. And doing that shows me more opportunity because
Mm.
personally, like the way I orient myself to being alive is like I am here in this human body to learn certain lessons And when I'm done, it'll be on to something else. And it may take me X amount of lifetimes to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm here, like on Earth, to do it, not
Yeah.
out in any other galaxy. And everything that is placed around me is assisting me in doing that, whether I love it or hate it in the moment.
Right. Yeah. What if
So
those things that most challenge us were our greatest teachers, our
it is
mirrors?
totally, totally is. So that,
Well, not everybody's aware of that, you know? It's like,
no, you're right.
whoa, you mean that person that I like can't stand that I give all my energy to is actually just a reflection of something I'm dealing with?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or
There's,
if even a struggle with a child, right? Is that's the great thing about relationships. I always said it's like just pouring gasoline on the fire because it really
yeah.
illuminates things really quickly. Just
Yeah.
brings it right to the surface.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a gift. You're right.
Mm.
Especially for men, because,
It can be if you allow it to be. I think if
yeah.
you can create that. I mean, what if it was a gift? If you're listening today, what if the thing that is like your biggest pain in the ass today, what if that was a gift?
Yeah.
My a meditation teacher I often work with, Daniel Tuttle, always says, "How can it work out? How can this work out better than I ever imagined?"
Mm.
Right? And you were talking about planting seeds earlier too, and um, I was thinking, well, what if, yeah, this thing that's challenging the most right now, how could that work out better than you've ever imagined? Like we have no idea. We can't conceptualize, the vision future of how the universe could be working in our favor. But if we allowed it, what could be possible?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that that's the big shift. The opportunity for men is shifting our perspective of like hard headed, like going forward, not feeling, and moving into first feeling themselves, then loving themselves, then taking that embodiment into the world as the gift. But it's so often, I think we men, what I witness in myself and others is that we wait until there's something broken on the outside, and then we're like, how do I fix this thing on the outside, when really it's broken on the outside. Like we can't love them more because we don't love ourselves more. We're
Mm.
limited to what we can give by what we give ourselves.
Mm.
So if you're not able to feel, if I can't feel my own needs, how could I ever feel your needs or my
Mm.
partner's needs or my kids' needs? Because I learned to shut that off. And it's not like this, like, well, I can shut it off for me while neutrally serving the world.
Right.
No, I have to. And that's what we're here to talk about, right? Like the
That
mastering your
is. I
energy.
was just gonna say this is the secret sauce right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Um, that's been my big aha moment in the work, uh, is that fixing a relationship is about fixing yourself first.
Mm.
Like growing a relationship you can't skip the working on yourself and just go right to working on the relationship, because what I like, the way it occurs to me is, if we don't work on ourselves and learning to let go of things and building our mind body connection, everything we see is tinted with these shit goggles that we've accumulated through all this past accumulation of repressed past events. Things
Yeah.
that as men we're like, oh, tough it
Yeah.
out, man up.
All the things you were told growing up that
Yeah,
this is how you have to be or supposed to be.
right.
So what if
So,
those are all lies?
well, yes, I think that's a
What if
great
we could
question.
destroy those right now?
We could just say that doesn't, like, your body, your feelings, your sensations, all of that is the
Mm.
treasure map. That's like
Mm.
why that's what you're connected from head to body for,
Yeah.
from mind to body. And I love this analogy. And I heard, I think I adapted this from Sadhguru, and no, like, all the honor and respect to him. But there's this idea that men have been, if you compared a man to a high performance precision car like a Lamborghini, right? Our mind is like the ECU, it's the computer. And we grow up learning to lengthen or totally disconnect the feedback loop from the sensors, which are our body, to the mind. So we just make all the decisions with no feedback
Mm.
from the rest of the car or our body. And if we did that with the car, it would be trash. It would be wrecked. It would be no good. But we do it all the time with our body, and we
Mhm.
expect to have like this great experience of life, but we're disconnecting from what gives us feedback in the
Right.
world. Like we didn't do that when we were a baby,
Right.
but we
Like if you
learned to
needed
do
help
it.
as a child, you asked for it. You just
Yeah.
asked for it
Or you
and you received
cried.
it. Or you
Yeah,
cried, which is a way of asking for it.
exactly. Yeah.
Or expressing your needs or just how you're feeling. You actually allowed yourself to feel something, which allows
Right.
the universe to shift.
Yeah.
Matter's neither created nor destroyed, but if you keep it in, it's gonna, I believe, destroy you. And
Yeah.
so if you can let it out in some way, that actually gives other people permission to even be of service to you. If you ask for help, it can allow someone else the gift of helping you.
Yeah.
But you've got to start with your own needs. And I even have talked to so many men today who are like, I don't know what I need. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
That's,
said, well, that's a great place to start. You know, you could
yeah.
just be in that inquiry like this week. Just ask yourself, what do I need? Or what do I want? You know, if you don't know what you need, what would you like? How would you like to feel if you could, you know, and it's not just about success, right? Because you can get
Yeah.
that thing you've said, you know, we've mentioned the car and the kids and the wife or the partner, whatever it is. You've got those things, the job. You could still be feeling really, really dead or hurt on the inside, or just not have those tools for self-care, the burnout, you know, pushing through that
Mhm.
other thing, like man up, that you
Yeah.
just have to barrel through. And once you retire, then you can relax and enjoy your life. Right? But
Mm.
how do you know you're going to make it that far? We don't know if
Yeah.
we're going to be alive tomorrow.
Yeah. I love David Data as
Mhm.
one of the great teachers out there. And he has this quote that I'll paraphrase, but it's the great masculine error is to think that it will end, to think
Mm.
that if I just level up in this area, or I fuck my wife better, or I do this, something will fundamentally change, and it won't. And that
Mm.
to me, like really understanding that is the fundamental piece that has to happen first before you really get what it means to master your energy, because it isn't about getting to like, oh, I have a vacation coming up. If I can just make it there, I'll survive, or making
Yeah.
it to the weekend or to
Wherever you
retirement.
go, there you are. Because when you're on vacation, guess who's coming with you?
Yeah,
Like the
exactly.
rest of the, you
Yeah,
know, and when you're on vacation, you're probably going to be worried about when you got to be back when your vacation
yeah,
ends. Right? Are
yep.
you ever actually, I love those clocks that just say now all
Mm,
over them.
yeah.
It's a great reminder just to be here.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, if we can, right, even right now, if you're watching this and you just take a minute and take a deep breath and feel into your body, like what needs your attention right now, because something will raise its hand if you take a breath, if you close your eyes, if you listen, something will it could be the tension in your shoulders, just inviting you to exhale and just drop your shoulders. Could be your closed heart that wants you to
I just
just,
stretched my legs out. I was
yeah,
like,
man.
God, my legs have been hurting for so long.
It's so simple and so little, yet it's like this piece that we learn to ignore as men.
Mm,
And behind all of this is having a life where you can experience reality as it is, and
mm.
not through those shit tinted goggles that we build up and accumulate by just not dealing with things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. And I've really been in the inquiry too of something that just came up, like, what is a man? Like those shit tinted goggles or whatever you've been told. Like, what is that? And can we just destroy and uncreate that and allow yourself, like, if you could be, here's something that else has been coming up in some of my spaces and around relationships is safety and security, and we've talking about mastering our energy. There was so long when I well, I personally, I always say I took hostages a lot for a long time with relationships in order to try to feel better. I tried to find people who were better than me, or, who like drank less, or, meditated more. And basically, like these women or any partner or friend I had, I took them hostage because I was expecting to get something from them in order to feel secure. And one of the most amazing things that happened to me in counseling with my wife before we got married was we talked about what marriage means to each of us. And it turns out for me, a lot of it subconsciously, I was still trying to work out like this old abandonment complex. Like I had it in my head that if we got married, that she was less likely to leave me subconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, if you look at the statistics today, getting married has nothing to do with someone leaving you or not.
Right.
Um, so we paused and we went into counseling for like a year, and we recreated it together. I got responsible for it, and she, luckily I found someone who said, I will not marry you under those conditions, which I could thank her for. I said, thank you
Uh,
for allowing me to see that this is something I can work on. And then we got to choose marriage and we chose it, despite the legal stuff. Like, you can see each other in the hospital. That's, all that. Like, what if so you're dying? Like, guess what? You can say, this is my wife. They don't check your marriage license when you're on your
right.
deathbed. Um, but either way, we saw it as a declaration and a chance to create ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a chance for me to really work on myself. And that's when I really first saw my shit. Like, oh man, I'm still looking for some woman to save me, and I've really got to do this work. But when I found her is when I actually decided that I was going to put drugs and alcohol down for the first time in my life. When I said, I'm not going to be in a relationship, I'm not going to try to date anyone, and I'm not going to party like I used to. And that's when she came into my life. So it was this thing talking about like taking on your own work, right? Like mastering your energy. The best thing you can do is to start with yourself, just like you were saying, and that is like the sexiest thing you can do. And it's not selfish, because the minute we've been
Right.
trained, like, oh, you can give shirt off my own back for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But are you nurturing yourself in the way you look for the women to nurture you in your life?
Yeah.
When your mother dies after, I've lost a parent and a lot of elders in my life recently, and COVID's taken out like the rest of them. Um, when those people are gone, how are you going to create that maternal energy for yourself? If your partner dies, if you're, God forbid, whoever, how can you bring that maternal energy and love for yourself? How can you bring that beautiful father energy for yourself? How can you parent yourself? And then when you're loving yourself, then imagine what you're radiating and attracting,
Right. Right.
right? Even if your partner isn't on the same page, they're gonna notice something's gonna
Oh
shift,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 And that's responsibility, right? Is
Mm,
like if if you're doing something I don't like, and if we were in a relationship, then I get to look at, okay, what am I evoking here? What am I
mm,
evoking? What am I doing on the inside that's reflecting something back on the outside? And
mm,
mastering your energy, there's an element of integrity. Like as you increase your awareness and become more aware of, like, okay, here's how I get more energy. Here's how I avoid losing energy. And you're able to just start to understand some fundamentals. Then it becomes a matter of, okay, it's date night. How am I showing up?
mm,
Am I going to give my partner what I have left over, or am I going to maybe say, hey, instead of 5:30, let's go to our date at 6:30, and I'm going to take care of myself, let go of the week, fill myself up, and then I'm going to blow your fucking mind on our date from a place that's not needing anything from you. I don't need you to mother me.
Mm.
I don't need
Mm.
you to listen to me vent all this stuff that I wasn't responsible for myself. You know,
Mm.
I'm whole and complete, and I am here on the earth in front of you, breathing into my belly, opening my heart,
Mm.
like right here.
Mm.
And I think when we talk about mastering your energy, it's being conscious of how powerful the way you manage your energy is to the world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, John, if you like just came off of a bender and slept 1 hour, the energy you'd be transmitting right now would be much different than what you typically do and are doing right now. And so it becomes a gift
Yeah.
when you manage your energy
Yeah.
in a way that's powerful and responsible.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. There's so much goodness coming out of that. One of the things I'm really committed to doing in the world is just showing men that it's safe and okay to do these things and to take care of yourself and love yourself like this. And also it's time to get responsible for it,
Yeah.
to stop leading blindly and like opening our eyes to the powerful women, the powerful feminine in our life and
Hmm.
in ourselves, how we can awaken each other. Our country is one of the only countries that hasn't had a female leader. Like that was
Yeah.
crazy thing, right? Like
Yeah.
Queen has been that energy has been there for a long time in history, for thousands of
Mm.
years. And we have something to learn from both our king and queen side.
Mm.
And you said something too about mastery and and integrity and date night, right? So my wife and I, and if you're like a lot of couples now, probably, or even friends or roommates, you're working at home more, you're seeing more of each other, probably, maybe not, but either way, bringing integrity to it's so important. And for me, my phone's a big distraction, energy, because it's also my connection to all of the people I get to be of service of, and all the messages waiting. And but my wife and I have times where we literally put our phones, we leave them in the car to go on a nature walk together just to connect. And we have a date night once a week. Like you said, we've had to create that so that we don't talk about business. And
Yeah.
we literally can't go like it. Well, at one point, one of us will want to pick up our phones and show each other this something else. And it could be really exciting. But either way, we're opening ourselves up to be distracted by something else. And so if you
Yeah.
can even create that moment just to leave the phone in the car, I dream of creating a family now because I think about all the ways. Like I have all these ideas, and I'm sure half of them are gonna like go to shit. Like as soon as you try things as parenting, but I have a concern about screen addiction, and because I see it myself, and I have these memories of like eating dinners, listening to Prairie Home Companion, like Garrison Keeler, growing up
Hmm.
in the South, and we didn't have phones, and if it rang, it was like we're having dinner right now.
Hmm.
Um, and just sitting and even watching shows together or playing puzzles and things where screens aren't allowed. And I know like screen free families.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but there's also like an access, right? A connection to the world through technology. And
Hmm.
so much is possible, like everyone who's here for us now. So how can we be responsible with our time? The app developers have now given us, you can put timers on your stuff. Um,
I think a great place to start is developing a practice of checking in with your body,
mm,
because your
yeah, let's talk
body
about
will
some practices.
your body will tell you when you've had too much screen time. But if we're
So Eric, a lot of us don't know. Some
okay,
of the men out there, let's assume we don't all know. Like, what are some ways that we might know?
so for me, this is what my practice is about. Is
Mhm.
it's brings a lot of qigong in, because for me, qigong is what helps me settle and still my nervous system. And after a day of being on my phone for work a lot, um, I can literally feel, because I've cultivated that capacity through practice, like just buzzing in my body. Like it's just my, I
Mm.
could feel my system doing this is what it feels like to
Mm.
me. But when we're always in our head and we don't have a practice that anchors us into stillness where we're able to access those subtler cues of our body and the feedback from our body, if we don't have that practice, it just goes right over the top and it
Mm.
becomes a spiral because it is addicting, right? Like
Mm.
it's designed to be addicting.
Mm.
So
Oh yeah.
it becomes about how consciously
Oh,
can we
sorry.
use it?
I just have to share. Like, I had a half hour free before this, and to watch my brain, like, I could have, sat and eaten slowly and meditated, but I called someone else, and I start doing all these things, and it's just it happens almost every Monday. So I'm just laughing out loud as you're speaking. I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, I'm still working through it myself. I did do a meditation and a run today, and I did eat breakfast, and I did get the piano tuner in the house in the hours where I was hoping there would be a podcast. But still, like,
Mhm.
right when the time came, though, there's this old self-sabotage thing I still do. I call it self-sabotage. Who knows? It's also nerves and it's excitement and it's energy, and I start running around the house and doing lots of things. But I notice I have to, like, it really takes something for me to, like, and just sit in my space before we get started on this,
Yeah.
right? And ground in an intention before. And inevitably, when I do, it's, oh, my computer's going to take an extra 5 minutes to load today or something, right?
Hmm.
But just starting with that little awareness. Like, maybe we could ask ourselves today, if you're watching today, let's make it set a timer in 5 hours from now. See how your body
Yeah.
feels right now. And then set a timer in 5 hours and see how it feels at 6 p.m. Eastern or wherever you are. After your day of screens. My eyes get kind of big and they feel like I know what you're talking about, that like zzz, but also
Hmm.
like my eyes feel exhausted
Yeah.
and my body feels suddenly empty, and crazy. So
Mm.
I call it fried and frazzled.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
my wife is wired and tired.
hmm.
Um, Yeah, and so how the hell can we even go be with our partners after that? What can we
Right.
do? One of my favorite things, I just go sit outside, even if I'm on the phone or I talk to a friend, or I take one more call at the end of the day sometimes. I put a time limit on my day, but also, as the sun's setting, I'll just go sit in the sun on the porch, or I'll get barefoot, even if it's
Mhm.
freezing outside, just walk, just step into nature, just take a deep breath. If you're in a house full of children, like, can you go in the bathroom and, like, just sit on the toilet and take a breath for a second,
Yeah.
take a hot shower for 3 minutes, whatever you can do. Every little thing, every action really does make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And another piece here, like a really practical thing you can do is just breathing into your belly. Like breathing into your belly helps take your awareness out of your mind and
Mm.
into your body. And that's a way you can touch base, like, hey, how's it going down there, body? Like, how are things going? So, um, another piece is in your day, starting to see things in beginnings and ends. So, like opening with an intention and
Mm.
closing with a letting go type of energy is one way that's really good for me because I work at home. I have kids. I have a wife right downstairs.
Mm.
And
Did you say you have a life or a wife downstairs?
I have both a wife and a life.
It's
Um,
all happening right
yeah, it's
downstairs.
all happening. It's out right here too.
And here,
And
yeah, I was gonna say.
so having that opening and closing helps to be meticulous with energy. It's part of mastering
Mm.
energy because I want to symbolically or energetically or however fits for you close out the work.
Mm.
Disconnect from all the men I've been talking to, disconnect from all of that. Then you can just intend to let go of the energy or whatever mantra or prayer or whatever works for you. But basically, bringing some intention to the fact that if I don't fully disconnect from this and then I go downstairs, I'm bringing this to my kids. I'm bringing this
Mm-hmm.
to my wife. I'm
Mm-hmm.
bringing this to the dinner I'm cooking or the dishes I'm washing
Yeah.
or whatever I'm doing.
Mm.
So, mastering your energy is partially about understanding that we're always interacting with the world energetically. So, setting an intention for this call, and then at the end of this, letting go of all of it, letting it go. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't have to be too esoteric either.
Right.
It could just be like, uh, I intend to for this call to go in alignment with the best way
Mm.
possible. And then at the
Yeah.
end, I am brushing all this off from the call.
Yeah. Ooh, I started burning like Palo Santo or incense and stuff.
Yeah.
I just heard
Whatever
this
ritual.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're really speaking to ritual. And I
Mhm.
heard one other thing in my head. I heard this man's voice say, "Well, I gotta work, I gotta feed the kids. Like I fucking stress. Like what else? I don't got time for myself, like
Mm.
um and my father-in-law, God bless him, like he's just lost his father. He's one of the most beautiful loving men I knew, but he's been through the military for so long, and he works in a maximum security prison, and he's got a really high
Mm.
level position there. And because he's spoken up for himself there, they've also like given him the worst shifts. Like he works overnights because he really speaks up against the system and what he believes in sometimes, and tries to make it a better place. It's a women's prison, and he really does care about people there. And there's people he's working with that are literally, he's lost two people in the last, I believe, year driving home. They've like died
Mm.
from exhaustion driving at night or early in the morning.
Hmm.
They're tired, they fall asleep at the wheel,
Yeah.
stress and things like that. And it's just we don't have to work, we don't have to suffer, in order to receive validation. And for anyone who is really working, you do have to provide for your family, and you are showing up for yourself. Where could you just bring a little bit of love to yourself in that today? How could you be a little bit more gentle with yourself or with someone else? And maybe that could help you be more gentle with yourself, treating those people that are really challenging you at work or in those spaces. um and also asking, you can ask the universe for to like, would you like to know what it would be like to intuitively know how to provide some self-care and love for yourself throughout the day, no matter what your life looks like? Would you like to, you could ask for it,
Mm.
the guidance, and ask for help. You can send either of us a message here. How
Yeah.
do I take care of myself? This is what I'm dealing with.
Hmm.
So Eric, you wake up at home. You guys have how many kids are
Four.
there?
Four.
Four kids. Okay, I was gonna say three, four. That's something. That
That
is not
is.
nothing.
That is
And
something.
and two adults, right?
Hmm.
So how old are the kids?
1.5, 4, 6, and 11.
Wow. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you almost have, yeah, like three adults there. You have like a mini adult too. And
Totally.
like a toddler. And yeah, you've got like all the phases.
Totally. Yeah. We're in
And
it.
I'm sure you each take turns being the teenager,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. For sure.
So what do you do? Like so ritual is really an important part of your day. How do you make time for yourself inside of that schedule of being a coach, being a father, being a husband or partner, how do you show up for yourself? Like what does that look like so that you're able to show up for yourself?
Well, I'll show you because my wife and I just had a meeting last night, and I'll just flash it up to just show the general idea. But, we have a very meticulous schedule that we've created to, like, I work 34 hours each week, and we have each of us gets about, we just changed it. I think it's a little more. It was 16 hours of personal time a week. And we get probably 12 hours of dedicated family time. not counting like dinner, bedtime, things like that. So it's just being
Wow, will
really
you send me your schedule? This is awesome. I want to put this on my vision board.
well, this is what's really important. This is part of what
Wow,
I
that's
do
really
with men
cool.
in mastering your energy. Part of that is mastering your schedule. Like your schedule isn't separate, you know. Even if you work for somebody else, okay, that makes it a little easier. You now know from this time to this time, you're here.
Mhm.
So how when you get home every day, are you totally drained and angry? Well, if you are, then maybe you should bump your arrival time back half an hour so you can take the long way, go to the park on the way home so that your energy is in a place that you would want it to be. It would be
Mm.
full so that you then go home to your family in a way that is more in alignment with the family life you want to have, right?
Yeah.
So this is probably our fourth iteration over the past year of our schedule, and each time we talk about like, are you getting, do you need any, what do you need? Like how are your needs being met with this schedule? Are you getting enough
Mhm.
time to yourself?
Wow.
Are you getting enough sleep? Like my wife is be co-sleep and she's breastfeeding, a little baby. So, and basically has been for a lot of our relationship, with the amount of kids we've had. So,
Yeah, wow.
um,
God bless her.
yeah, exactly.
You
So like
co-sleep.
we
You
do,
said those
absolutely.
words. That's
Yeah.
really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Listening.
Well, we're really believer in um making our kids feel loved and comfortable and safe, and co-sleeping makes it really easy to do
Mm.
that.
Mm.
And yeah, so it's our choice, and I think that
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful and loving one.
Yeah.
Um and it's part of
Yeah, just
mastering
I'm
energy
pointing out
too.
all the different places you're being intentional. Yeah. Yeah, and that
Yeah,
takes something to do that as well.
it does. Because we share our bedroom, with
Hmm.
our children. Um, and so then it even comes down to making intentional time to like connect. Like we have a date night, we have our practice night where we practice more of our intimacy and connection and different things we're working on at that time.
Oh, cool. I love
Um,
that it's called practice night. It doesn't have to be
yeah,
like sex night. It could just be like, what are you working on? Yeah, and intimacy
right,
doesn't even have to be physical, right?
right. I mean,
Or
it can be the
sexual.
the gamut,
Yeah, it can be all
from
of it.
like, I mean, part of mastering your energy is mastering what does it feel like to look into my eyes right now when
Mm,
I have this intention, or
mm,
um, just working through what's there for us, what's on our hearts. But
mm.
in a relationship, it offers the ability to go deeper in the work because I have to ask for what I want. Therefore, I need to believe that I'm worthy of asking for what I want. Therefore, there is a piece of work hanging there for me to do that, to enforce my own boundaries, all of these things. And it also allows me to work through those old constructs of like giving you the shirt off my back. Um, that man is not a man we should glorify.
Mm.
That's saying he's going to give you everything until he's empty, right? And what I want my kids' experience and my wife's experience of me to be is build up, Eric. Like, what does it look like when I shine?
Mm.
That's what I want you to experience.
Mm.
That's what I want to experience. I
Yeah,
want to, and there's no reason I shouldn't.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no reason.
And if you don't know how and you're listening, please reach out to one of us. Like we
Yes.
would be happy, happy, happy to show you and guide the way and share tools. I know Eric and I both have a lot of Eric's got so much beautiful content out there. You can just watch any of his videos, and I'm sure you'll get something from it. We have so much free content out there
Mm-hmm.
to help you. So, if money's an issue, it's there. And if you also know you're ready for a coach and you're ready to invest in yourself, and you've got the resources, like we're ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're. But either way, I know I can say like, um, I think we're I'm here to just, show that it's okay to ask for help and be vulnerable and look at your and talk about your needs. And Eric, you always center me in that. Like every video, it's just like you're so present and grounded in there, and I can feel it today too. So I just want to honor you for being a genuine human and walking the
Thanks.
walk. And I can't imagine what it's like to have four kids run around there. I think it's exceptional. You're like the future leaders of the world are there in your home, and to be responsible for the sacredness of that, right? And the gift that that is, and with all of the challenges and the gifts that those are and the reflections that we get to see. I'm more and more believe that life is not just meant to feel good all the time. We're just here to feel all the feels and to
Mm,
learn from them and connect
yeah,
with each other through them. And I really hear you bringing a lot of intentionality to your life with your time and your purpose, and it really shows. So I just
thank you.
really want to acknowledge you for that. It's really admirable.
Thank you. And I appreciate all those kind words, Ben. And I want to say that um, the work never ends. Like
Right.
for all those men who are like maybe afraid to reach out for help, just know that I'm reaching out for help to my teacher, to my coach, to my therapist, to whoever I need, because we're still here on earth because we have more to learn,
Yeah.
right? And there's no like that's powerful to know when to ask for help. And with raising four children, um, I have a powerful partner. I have a powerful partner who I'm doing the work with. And, shout out to my beautiful queen, Julianne, who is, holding it down with the kids while I'm up here right now,
Mm.
having this call and working with clients and working with men. Uh,
Wow.
so
Wow.
she's doing the work with, like, we're so much a team
Yeah.
that I can't separate that.
Yeah.
We're working toward changing humanity and the trajectory of people. Like the work you do, Ben, the work I do, it has the power to alter generations. And I mean, if we do a little quick math, if everybody has two kids and the what you do today affects at least three generations forward, that's a
Hmm.
lot of people that all of those great grandchildren will impact in their life.
Yeah.
Enough so that we can safely say it can alter the course of humanity within a few hundred years,
Yeah. And
right?
if we're gonna have humanity still around in a few hundred years, we might want to get to it.
Yeah,
And this is what it
exactly.
looks like. You don't have to go out and, I mean, God bless you if you can change policies, go for it. But
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
it can start with just loving yourself. That's like the greatest gift you can give to
it
the
does
world. And
start there.
ask your
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I always ask the like, what if, what if it could start there?
Yeah.
What if you're enough today? Because you are, right? And it's so beautiful. Yeah, we and definitely for asking for help and allowing help, receiving it.
Mm,
Um, for the co-parents in the world and the partners holding it down. I know a
mm,
great coach also who's a woman, and she's like her husband's really become the like stay at home downstairs, and she's working and earning and,
mhm,
and and showing that like women can lead, and the relationships don't have to look like gender doesn't have to look like who's doing what
mhm,
inside of work, right? So
mhm.
it's all about self-care and creating whatever you want for yourself in your life. And Eric, I just appreciate you leading by example and leading with your heart, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
You too, Ben. Thank you.
If people want to get hold of you, and you should follow, I definitely encourage you to follow Eric. You should do whatever you want, but I definitely encourage you to follow Eric. And if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can just send me a DM. That's the easiest way. And yeah, I'm in conversations right there.
Cool. Cool. Well, Eric, it's such an honor, and I hope we get to do this again. And
Yeah,
again, I just want to plant the seed universe of us doing something together in person in the Northeast in the near future
love it.
around these spaces. So Um, yeah, so grateful for you and your time, and to your partner for giving us this time as well. And can't wait to see what more magic happens.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you all so much for listening. I just also want to close with this. If something did resonate today, please tell us, please comment, please share this with someone you could use. Bonus for sharing it with a partner or friend. And we're here for you. And Eric, is there, in the honor of ritual, is there any way could I ask you to do some kind of closing for us?
Yeah. So we can just right now, everybody can take one nice breath in, one big sigh out.
Ah.
Wash your hands with it. Take what fits, let go of what doesn't, and have a beautiful fucking day.
Yes, a beautiful fucking day. Take care, Eric.
All right, Ben.
Thank
See you.
you. Bye.
Bye.